today is going to be such a short, teeny, tiny little podcast because parenting comes first or something like that. And of course, kids need to get something done, and Daddy is the only guy that can get them there. So just a couple of housekeeping things. You will notice that my face is not on your screens. I am sick and tired of seeing the comment, hey, don't record your podcast on a potato. So until I can get an appropriate camera, we are going to go with the Non-negotiables logo rather than my mug. And I will just have to be more emphatic with my voice so that you can see my expression in the sound of my voice. So what else is there to say about that? Absolutely nothing. A little more housekeeping. I knew there was something else. My On the Mark channel. I decided over the weekend I was going to take clips from the daily podcast here on this channel. I was going to put them on over there so that you guys can see. If you missed the whole podcast, you can see the clips. YouTube did something. I got 43 views, and I'm no massive YouTuber, but I always break 100 on my videos. I got 43 views on the clips from this channel that I put over there, and YouTube says that I lost 8,100 subscribers over the course of the last 4 days. Yeah, so I don't know. There are no videos of me dropping N-bombs. I have not been accused of fiddling with preteens. None of that. Nothing that would require me to, give some sort of tearful, bubbling apology on YouTube. But somehow 8,000 people were just sick and tired of this horrible guy. And obviously that's all YouTube shenanigans. But I don't care. This is why this channel exists. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do that. And share the videos. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. All right, like I said, I got almost no time to go through this, but there's a link in the description for a video, for actually a website called Banned Book News or something to that extent. And in that link, you can watch this entire video, and I ask you to please do that. Now, it's subtitled, so it's a pain in the nuts to go through it and read it, but it is critical stuff. This is some Chinese conference, I guess, where these millionaire bigwigs go through and beat their chest and brag about the friends that they have in the cores of power, as he calls them, in America. I'm going to play a little bit for you. I'll read it in case you guys can't stop what you're doing to read the subtitles. But when you get a chance, like I said, you follow the link in the description of this video and you give it a look. Here's what it says. Let me see. Let me lower the volume so that you guys don't get hungry for Mugu Gai Pan while it plays. So it starts. Trump waged a trade war with us. Why couldn't we handle him? Why is it that between 1992 and 2016 we always resolved issues with America? All the crisis, the Yin incident, the bombing of the embassy, everything was taken care of swiftly in no more than 2 months. Why? Now I'm going to drop a bomb because we had people up there. In America's core circle of power, we had some old friends, quote unquote. Let me very quickly tell you a short story. And I'm not going to go into the story that he tells there because it makes no difference. But basically the story is he wanted to present Xi Jinping's book, the American translation of Xi Jinping, the president of China's book, in the United States. They wanted to secure a location. The location was booked. He says the American in charge was very arrogant and told us no. Who the hell are you calling arrogant, you smarmy little prick? And so some power broker, and he wouldn't name who she was called by the government of China in Washington, D.C., and lo and behold, all of a sudden the next day they got a call, hey, the room you wanted has been booked, and on Connecticut Avenue in Washington, D.C. at the time you want it, don't worry about it. And so he goes on to further explain how, when he asked this woman, well, you know, how did you do it? He says that she looked at him and said, I reasoned with him. Now, when he explains that that's a mafia term, and he says, well, not that I'm saying that she's in the mafia. She certainly is not in the mafia. She was a big-nosed woman, clearly a Jew, he says. But when she spoke to me in Mandarin, and she spoke in perfect Mandarin. I didn't have to ask her, you know, why or who she was. I knew already. She's one of our old friends. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play some more of this as I talk to you guys until I come up on the most important part of it. As a matter of fact, I think I know where it is. I think it's near the end here. He says, it's plain and simple. In the last 3 or 4 decades, we took advantage of America's core circle. As I said, the Wall Streets have a very profound influence over America's domestic and foreign affairs since the 1970s. We used to heavily rely on them. The problem has been declining since 2008. Most importantly, after 2016, the Wall Street couldn't control Trump because awkwardly there was a soft breach of contract between them. And that's where this particular clip on YouTube ends. But that's when things get real interesting, and why I suggest you check out the videos. Interesting, no? That here we have a major power broker in China explaining that the issues that China's having, the problems that they're having financially and fiscally in the country, the trade issues that they're having because of Trump. For 3 or 4 decades prior to Trump, they could resolve anything. And by that, he clearly means they could resolve anything for the benefit of China. Because they had, quote-unquote, old friends in the cores of power. He says that the problem is Wall Street has a lot of influence in these cores of power, and we, meaning China, have a lot of influence over Wall Street via our, quote, old friends. But Trump is untouchable. He goes on to explain, I think in this clip, well, we got calls from our quote-unquote old friends where they said, we tried and we tried to help, but we cannot help you because we don't own Trump. And then he looks at the crowd who's watching him in rapt attention and says, but Biden has won the election. And the crowd is heard to go into an uproarious laughing fit. This conference with thousands of Chinese nationals led by these billionaire Chinese bigwigs, at the mention of Joe Biden, can't help but start to laugh. You realize something when you watch these guys talk. Donald Trump is something special. We all know, and we've talked to each other about how China is going to steal our lunch. China is in all the major power centers. China is pulling strings and running our country from afar. And we get called conspiracy theorists. We get told that we are out of our minds. But now we've got this. We've got Chinese nationals coming right out and saying it. Clear as day, telling the American people, hey, numbskulls, you want a nation that you run yourselves? You want a country where you have autonomy, where you don't have Chinese power brokers dictating and deciding your fiscal policy, your foreign trade policy? Hey, morons! Would you like to keep your nation? Would you like to stay in charge of your country? Well, for the last 3 to 4 decades, the only way you've been able to do it is just this last 4 years where Trump, the unbought, the uninfluenced, the breacher, as he calls it here, the breacher of the contract between Wall Street and our government. The only way you've gotten that and been able to have some semblance of autonomy as a nation on the global stage is because you had Trump. But now with Biden, they laugh. In the longer video, if you follow that link, like I said, he even mentions Biden's son. Mentions the Biden family with their multitude of governments in multiple countries, or a multitude of companies in multiple countries. And he gets into some interesting conversation about Chinese financial and fiscal policy, which is interesting. I can't begrudge him his desire to position China as the head of the global Leviathan. You can't begrudge him that. He's a nationalist. So am I. But here he is telling you and me, yeah, there was a blip. Sure, when we had the brakes tapped on us. Yes, he admits the trade war has been devastating. But we're no longer worried. Hell, we got Biden. Biden Jitsu, Hunter Biden. Anyways, like I said, this is going to be a tiny little podcast. I already am 2 minutes late on having to get out of here. Meet Cranium, what's up, brother? My logo is not wearing a mask, nor will my logo wear a mask. As you can tell, my logo is of a young boy, a young, healthy boy who is screaming at the top of his lungs, and he's going to be aight. Yeah, definitely makes me love Trump even more. All right, guys. Sorry for the short, teeny, tiny podcast, but, you know, duties, right? I will be back tomorrow, and we'll get deeper into all of this. I hope you guys have a chance to follow that link, watch those videos, read them carefully, and let me know what you think on tomorrow's podcast. All right, guys. Catch you all in the next one.